So I would like you, Kavita Mishra ma'am, to say a few words and welcome the guest.
Sure, Nikunj. Thank you so much. So, I'll just say 1 minute. I'll just take your 1 minute. So, there is a very famous proverb which says that tough time never lasts, but tough people do. Campus placement is one of the most aspiring and complex activity in any B schools. It gets more complicated when market is not conducive enough to provide opportunity in terms of recruitment. In such a situation, the best strategy is to create blue ocean strategy than red ocean strategy. It is important for all the aspirants to learn how to maximize the opportunity in limited opportunity and how to be the best in worst scenario. It is my indeed privilege to welcome on behalf of Institute to Mr. Amit Kumar Das for delivering a guest session and address the concern of students in the most crucial time. As Nikunj already mentioned, sir, this is our 11th webinar. We started doing lots of international and national webinars since April, and we have tried to let students aware about the various challenges and opportunity in current scenario. But nonetheless, the life lessons and experience which you have since so many years is going to be one of the best things to be learned in today's session. So without taking much time, I invite Amit sir to start the session of today.
Thank you, Kavita. So, good afternoon, all of you. These are really the tough times, and I am sure you are taking care of yourself and your family members by maintaining the social distancing norms, sanitizing your hands regularly, and also ensuring that you follow a healthy lifestyle. Let's not lower our guards. Things have started opening up, but at the same time, I don't see any sign of containment as yet. So let's stay safe and ensure that we take care of ourselves and our family members. So it's my pleasure to be with all of you today. We have been seeing this series of webinars happening across industry. And sometimes I believe there is an overdose of webinar which happens. But the good part is, at least in this case, destiny is in your hand. So I can see some people leaving the meeting, but I can't do anything. Had it been a face-to-face meeting, it is much easier to control the crowd and confine them in the room till the time whatever I say, you guys will have to accept and listen. So these are challenging times, both for the speakers and also for the students. I'm sure all of you have also got bored sitting at home. I'm not sure if the college has resumed and if you guys are attending college, but I'm sure things will normalize in the months to come, and we'll have some solution to this problem. Nikunj was mentioning that this is 11th in the series, and I'm sure you would have heard various speakers. I just want your help, Kavita. How do you flash my presentation now?
We are putting it now. Chitija, may I request if you just put it?
Yes, ma'am. So I'll just share your presentation.
And you will give the control to me so that I can flip the slides. Is it possible, or you will do it for me?
Actually, sir, it is not possible. I would be able to access the presentation.
Okay. Great.
You can tell me whenever to change the slide.
Yes, I will tell you to change the slide.
Yes.
So there are some rules of webinars, and I think all of you are aware. So Kavita, this batch is the final year batch of MMS and your Alkesh Dinesh Modi program.
Yes, sir. This batch is we have two courses for whom we are looking placements, MMS and MSc Finance. So today students are comprising of MMS and MSc Finance, both the courses. And here we have students from Finance, Marketing, HR and Operations, all specialization.
Okay, great. Whether it is possible to do it, yeah, that's better now. Okay, so very interesting topic, and which has actually sent me back, travel back in time to my college days. And when Kavita ma'am approached me, we did talk about various other topics which we can today possibly look at. But one of the topic which was more, you can say apt for this group of students is how do you effectively navigate your career. And I have put my presentation in 4 parts, and we'll look at it. So before that, let me give you a brief introduction of myself. So, as you know, I'm Amit Kumar Das, and I am heading people and organization, which is HR function in Novo Nordisk is called people and organization because HR is a strategic enabler to the business. And that's one great thing about this company. Novo Nordisk is a global leader in diabetes management and also in some other therapeutic areas. It was founded in 1923 by a Nobel laureate, and the company is headquartered in Denmark. In India, we have been operating for more than 30 years and a clear leader in diabetes care. In fact, we have market share in excess of 50% in insulin, very rare to have. We are among the top 5 multinational companies operating in India. It's a Danish company which is known for its people values, guiding principles, and triple bottom line approach, where we are not only responsible to the business but also responsible to people and to the environment. So that makes this is an organization which is now close to in existence for 100 years. And if some of you have read a book called Good to Great, it talks about the journey of companies which have survived life cycle of more than 100 years. It's not easy to survive for so long. And Novo Nordisk, with its innovative product pipeline and innovation throughout, is a strong leader in its space. And we have exciting product portfolio for even next 25-30 years to launch in the market. In India, we are a clear-cut market leader, and we have a large field force which is based across the country. And we have innovative people practices, and we are one of also a top recruiter in some premier campuses. If you go to our website, you can also see the kind of programs we run. There is a graduate program which our global headquarter runs. There is a international operations graduate program which we run. There are local programs which we run. And to a great extent, we believe in build model of talent. So that's about me. I have 25 years plus experience all through in HR, but in different domains of HR. I've worked with Asian Paints for close to 10 years, both in India, and I was also the regional HR head based out of Malaysia, taking care of Asia Pacific countries. Then I worked with leading pharma companies like Allergan, which is a leader in ophthalmology and also Botox as a product. I have worked in India in Bangalore as Director HR, and I have also worked in Singapore as Regional Director for India and Southeast Asia. So post that, I worked with Novo Nordisk for 3 years in Bangalore. And then in my most recent assignment, I was Head of HR for JSW Group, where I was taking care of 8 business entities. There is some noise. If you can mute your microphone, some of you. So I worked with JSW Group. I was head of HR, exciting portfolio. 8 of the companies, most of them were startups. And in one of them, exciting piece was also the JSW Sports. So I was head of HR for JSW Sports. Delhi Capital team, which you are seeing now playing, has transformed from Delhi Daredevils to Delhi Capital. I was involved in that phenomenal journey. It was an exciting portfolio. I did that for 3 years and then decided to rejoin Novo Nordisk very recently. So till July, I was posted in Mumbai. And very recently in August, I have shifted to Bangalore to rejoin Novo Nordisk. And I'm based at the headquarters now. So that's about me, and have experience of managing university relations throughout my career. I have also been to your campus and got the opportunity to speak to the students, I think in 2018 or 19. Kavita ma'am is gracious enough to also invite me to write columns in some of the magazines, and I've been doing that. I've attended some functions. That has also led to a good relationship with your campus, where we have also recruited people from your campus in supply chain, in HR, and very happy to be with you. So with that, let me jump to my topic, which is effective navigation of careers in this tough time. I would not say tough time, but effective navigation is always required. be it COVID, be it non-COVID. And as students, I am sure you guys are taking utmost care to ensure that you have a great corporate career in the years to come. So if you can present the next slide, Ankita. I think Vaidehi who's doing that. Can you just go to the next slide?
Sir,
If
Kshitija.
you have any questions, you can, yeah, Kshitija, if you have any questions during my presentation, you can, put it in the chat box. I am not too familiar with Google Meet because globally in the company, we use Teams, which is a Microsoft product. So if you have a chat box, you can write the questions there, or, at the end, we can have a Q&A session. Or you can email it to or WhatsApp it to the placement committee, and they will take up the questions later. So Kshitija, can you put it on the slideshow mode, please? Okay, till Kshitija is setting it up, let me start the presentation. So I just want you to go back to the first day at campus when you joined this prestigious institute. And I'm sure all of you were excited at that point of time, maybe a little bit confused, but there was always a vision with you to make it big. And that's why I think from various fraternities, all of you came and you decided to join Alkesh Modi Institute and with its reputation. So there was a sense of, an achievement that you have got into this program. You were excited, you were curious, at the same time confused, and there were a lot of anxieties. And I have gone through when I stepped into my day one for my post-graduation. Also, there is a lot of unpredictability, what's going to happen with me, how the career will navigate. Some of you might have been working and would have left their jobs and come to this program, whether I will get gainfully engaged, whether I will get a good job. There is a lot of unpredictability on day one. And then there is a complete new stream of studies, which, teaches you completely different books, completely different topics, which you have not done that during your graduation or maybe, during your engineering program. So it's a mixed emotion with which we land in the campus and start our professional journey, isn't it? And I'm sure most of you will agree. And if you look back 2 years or 1.5 years before when you landed in this campus, there would be a lot of curiosity, there will be a lot of unpredictability, there will be a lot of questions in your mind that whether I have chosen a right career and how my career will get navigated in this institution. Is it not moving, Kshitija? Slides are not moving. And then comes, you get into the campus, you develop your familiarity, and you start making friends. You start feeling relaxed. Yeah, it is visible. Okay. So you start feeling relaxed, you make new friends, you make new groups. There are a lot of interest areas which over the period of time you start developing, and a lot of new learnings which you get from the campus. And also some shortcuts, the tricks, the jugaad which you learn. Also some of you might be networking a lot. And at the end of it, it's all about having fun. And I'm sure campuses are the right place where you can have a lot of fun. It's always mixed with academics, study hard, doing projects, and also having lots of fun. So that's what happens during the campus or during the course. So that's the second stage. Then comes next stage. Can you move to the next slide? Then comes the stage which is most important, because this is the time when you actually get into the placements. And then a sense of competition starts. You compete with each other. Who's going to get the best job from the campus? Who's going to get the fat check from the corporate? Who's going to get placed earlier? There is this group dynamics come in play where you start competing with each other. You start focusing on what you want, and you research about companies which are going to come into the campus. There is also very important element of location versus aspiration. And here I want to say that one experience of mine with all respect to your campus is that I have seen a lot of hesitation in the mobility of students, and that may be because all of you are from Bombay or nearby places. and I have seen that people are not mobile. Even if during the time of interviews they say that they are ready to go, but I have seen a lot of reluctance from them. So a lot of location versus aspiration. This is also a challenge which we are facing, because people don't want to relocate, but at the same time they want to have a career which is one of the best in the organization. Then comes a situation where you have to believe in yourself and sense of accomplishment, that I have come to an organization, I have done that, I will surely succeed in the corporate world. So this is a feeling I'm sure all of you go through during this time, when you are competing with each other, you are focusing on what you want, you do your own research, you're also worried, or rather you are also very choosy about the location. At the same time, all of you have aspirations of succeeding in corporate life. And then comes where you believe that you have done well, and there is a sense of accomplishment which comes in, and you will crack the interview and get best offer in the campus. So this happens during the time of placement. Now I will little bit move and talk about what actually a candidate goes through, and what are the expectations of corporates which come to the campus, what kind of candidate they look for. And that would be very important for you. I'm sure all of you have gone through a series of webinars, and there would be lot of understanding you already have on this topic. But I thought I'll share with you my experience, and then possibly after that we will keep it more interaction oriented, and I will take questions and we will make it a participative session. So Kshitija, please move to the next slide. So typically when you go for an interview, I'm sure you also prepare, but at the same time there are some basic questions which are asked to you, and it's very important for all of you to ensure that you prepare yourself well for the interviews or for the campus process. Now, one of the most simplest question which gets asked in any interview is, tell me about yourself. And this is an opening question where interviewer or the panelist want to know more about you. They want to understand as an individual what values you bring in. And my suggestion to all of you is that a well beginning is half done. I would suggest that you prepare this question and articulate it very well, because having interviewed candidates for over last 25 years, I have seen all kind of responses coming to when you ask them, tell me about yourself. It's very important to articulate in this question how much you want to talk about your education, how much you want to talk about what accomplishments you have done in life, how much you want to tell the interviewer about your aspirations and what strengths you bring in. At the same time, this is like you cannot go on for 15-20 minutes. It has to be very crisp, and it has to be slightly more than an elevator pitch. And I'm sure all of you know what an elevator pitch is. So elevator pitch, if you Google, you will find out that it is basically you get the time what you get from going to a ground floor or to maybe the top floor, and if you are with your CEO. And that's the time when you have to impress, and that's what you talk about. So it's like, I would not say that you make it so crisp like an elevator speech, but you also ensure that it's not too long. And it's very important for all of you to prepare answer for this, articulate it. And I personally believe that when you rehearse it, when you write about it properly, it comes out in a very logical flow when you are facing the interview, and you are much more confident. Because rehearsing, writing it down, preparing always makes you more confident. If I give you an example, if you go to an unknown city, and if you go just without preparing or without reading about that, you will not be that confident navigating into that. But if you have read about it, if you know a little bit about the culture, when you approach that place, you will be much more confident. So it's very important that you prepare answer for this and don't take this lightly, because this is something which sets the tone for the interview. So please prepare it and ensure that you are opening the session very well. Second one, are your values aligned to the organization? So every individual follows certain values, and it's very important to know where you are attending the interview and what are the value systems that company follows. and what are your personal values. It's very important that you see a match between the two, align yourself with the values and prepare that. Be clear on your aspiration, at the same time what location you want to work. There is nothing wrong to be placed at one particular location and remain there, but at the same time you have to also calibrate your aspirations accordingly. This is becoming a bigger and bigger challenge for the corporates, because the moment you look at build model of talent, you want to rotate people from one function to another. You want to see them operating and making success at different locations before they are moved into bigger role. So it's very important that you need to be mobile. And nowadays with technology, with connectivity, I don't see this as a challenge. When first time I left my home 25 years back and went to a new city, it was very difficult, because all those 21 years I was at one place with my parents and decided to take a good opportunity and leave my base location. And when you go to a different location, it's a change. And every situation is a teacher, because that makes you more adaptable. You learn to win your own battles. You learn to do things on your own, and you become much more confident. And that's an important step which takes you to the next level in your career. The fourth thing and most important is, please spend time in doing your research about the company. So if XYZ company is coming to your campus, ensure that, and nowadays you're very lucky to have mobile on your hand and any device through which you can connect and find out everything about the organization. It's very important that we do our research and we do it really, really well. And when you do your research, there is a technique which is like chain research. So you don't understand something, Google and find out more about that. But if you do that, your confidence level reaches very high. And when you are facing the interview panel or any process part of interview, you will be very confident about it. So don't miss this step. Don't skip this step. I have seen people coming and sitting for the interviews and they are not even aware about the company. It leaves a very bad impression, and it's very important that you know about the company well, at least whatever is the published information. For example, if you're attending a pharma company interview, you may not know what composition goes into a drug, but you will always know what therapy areas the company is present, what are the various, and for that, believe me, you don't need a science background. If you are attending a science technology based company, you have to just understand, read about that, and you become more and more confident when you go into the interview. So these are very important steps which somehow looks very simple and we tend to skip them. But if you are looking for a career which will take you to newer heights for next 25, 30 years, you must ensure that you prepare these questions very well. There are other pieces which are very important, and you need to be mindful of that. You need to take cognizance of that. Your functional and your behavioral skills definitely take you to the next level, but at the same time, your life skills are very important. So how effectively you communicate, how effectively you network, how much aware you are about your strengths and development areas, and do you have a clear purpose? Majority of the top institutes, if you look at, and I'm sure in your institute also, you must be asking students to write their purpose statement. And the most difficult part of the selection process is writing a purpose statement. If you know, there are a lot of experts who are actually running the counseling sessions where they actually train students to write purpose statement. And it is a very important element. So unless you are clear what is your purpose, why you have come to this program, what is that you want to do, it would be very challenging for you to make a successful career in the corporate, or rather to get a very good placement from the campus. So there are certain things which you have to be very clear, your plan A versus what is your plan B. If you ask me honestly, I am not a big proponent of plan B, but I have written it plan A versus plan B because in the tough times what we are facing, it is important to also have a plan B. But remember, the more options you keep for yourself, more choices you have, you will get more confused. So you should have one plan A, that this is a set of companies which I get into, which I want to get into. These are the roles which I want to do, and I will definitely succeed in getting that. Failures should not deter you from moving from that plan to plan B. Keep trying and you will surely get into the organization of your choice. Repeating again, very important to communicate effectively, know your strengths and development areas, very clear on your purpose, and must have a clear plan A, which should be the dominant one, and also a fallback option as plan B. And that's specifically from the current times, because it's really a challenging time for the industry and students who are passing out. I would compare this year with year 2000, when campuses have seen the lowest dip in terms of recruiters making an offer. 2000 and 2001 was the year when the recruitment, even when I was in Asian Paints every year recruits 35, 40 from the top B school, and then from different tier campuses. 2000 and 2001 was the year when the campus recruitment was at the lowest. And this year, I'm not too sure how things are happening in the campus. What is the sense check you have for the next year? But I would rather be hopeful that we are now in September, October, November, things will further open up, COVID will subside, and things will be back to normal when you guys are out in the market looking for opportunities. I'm very hopeful, and I know that it's going to ease out. So you guys need not worry too much about it. I'm sure all of you in this batch will get very handsome placements, and I wish you good luck. So this is important, that you have to create differentiation. Are you ready for that differentiation? Are you different from others in terms of your communication? Have you looked at your strengths and development areas? Do you have a clear purpose? Do you have a plan A, that this is what I want to do? Think about it and create differentiation for yourself. Can you move to slide 9, please? So this one is in continuation, and I think we skipped this slide, but let me go back because I believe that it's very important. So what creates a differentiation between, say, a Nikunj or an Ankit? What creates a difference between a Nischal and an Anusha? I think it's some of your individual competencies. And if I ask you, what are competencies? Competencies are nothing but your demonstrated behaviors, and they comprise of knowledge, skill, and attitude. Now, there are 3 sets of competencies which each individual delivers. So one is always through self. And I personally believe that for all of you to little bit spend time and hear me out is very important, because there are 2 sets of competencies which all of you deliver through individual basis. One is planning and analytical skills. Now, each person is different in his or her planning skills. Each person is different in his or her analytical skills. And I'm sure most of you will agree, because you may know Excel, another person may know Excel, but how you're inferring data from that Excel is very, very individual. Some people will analyze it very effectively, they will deep dive, whereas some may do it in a moderate manner. So it's very individual specific. And at the same time, it is very important to work on your planning and analytical skills. Excel or anything else is a tool which helps you in planning. It always differs from a person A to person B, how much tool you are using to plan. More you are using tools, effective tools for planning, more successful you will be. So this is a differentiator in your competency. The other differentiator at the individual level is achievement orientation. And when I say achievement orientation, it is basically a trait which says that how effective you are in surpassing the past record. So you have a set record, like, for example, someone knows that, the average campus salary, say 8 lakhs. So that's the benchmark. With your achievement orientation, you will always be able to surpass that. So that's an example what achievement orientation means. And that's also very, very individual. Then there are certain competencies which you deliver through people, the peer network, the group which you work. It's your interpersonal effectiveness, how you are able to influence people, how good you are in communication. Now, these are the competencies which you don't deliver alone, but you deliver through a network of friends, a network of academicians who work with you, a network of various corporates where you are connected with. And these are the competencies which you deliver through people. Then there are third set of competencies, another ones which you cannot ignore is commercial orientation. Very important for a batch of MBAs to have a commercial orientation. And when I say commercial orientation, the sense about the business, understanding the business, what are the various facets of business, understanding the numbers, understanding PE ratios, understanding various ratios on which the business operates, understanding the P&L statement. Very important for each one of you to have a proficient level of mastery on those. The other important aspect of competencies is the business perspective. How you understand business. What's your understanding of the competitor landscape? How much study you do in terms of finding out how your competition is doing when you are working in a company. So these are some of the competencies, and I repeat again, are very, very important, which you deliver through self, through people, and to the environment. So planning is very important. And the second attribute which leads to a very high proficiency level demonstration of competency is inquisitiveness. And today I find that a difference between person A and person B also comes from how much inquisitive the person is. And when I say inquisitive, that leads to a habit of kind of studying more, finding out more about any topic, any subject, and that differentiates person A from person B. Today, knowledge is available everywhere. It is at the press of button, you will get to know everything in the world, what's happening. I read somewhere that if you have to keep pace with the world, your reading every day should be equivalent of 365 A4 size papers. Now that can translate into maybe, newspaper reading or reading any book or understanding your subject in detail or watching TV. But to keep pace with the world, you need to read A4 size 365 pages. And that's a lot. And if you are not doing that, then you can yourself gauge what you are missing and you will be left behind in this competitive world. So inquisitiveness is a very important trait which each one of you need to demonstrate. Also preparation. There is no substitute to preparation. You have to prepare for what you are aspiring for. Be it studies, be it understanding, be it research, be it talking to the people in the industry, be increasing your network. At this point, typically, if you would have been done a face-to-face meeting, I would have loved to ask all of you that how many of you have a very strong counsel in the industry. And when I say counsel means you can pick up 5 companies and say that, I can interact, I can reach out to them with ease. And that is something which comes from the preparation. So over these 2 years, I'm not sure whether you have developed that counsel or not. Be it by doing any project with them, be it by doing your summer internship there, be it by doing any live project, by spending a couple of hours from your daily routine and working on it. And believe me, there are a lot of startups, there are a lot of organizations in Bombay which look for this kind of part-time support. And while they look for people to work on the project, it is also our need to find out such companies and align with them. Because then it builds your counsel in the industry. If you have not done it, please start doing it. You still have 4 or 5 months in the campus and start building that. There are a lot of companies which are having live projects where they need people, and you must do that. Because I understand yours is not a residential program, so I'm sure you will have a lot of time after your campus hours to work in a group in such projects. Also, it is important that you prepare what companies look for. You have to understand that Google has a different requirement compared to an FMCG, compared to a pharma company. It's very important that you should know what kind of talent goes there. Every company will have their own career page, and you should go and read and understand what are their values, what they look for, what they practice in the organization. And it's important that it should form part of your research. So these are some of the basic things which I touched upon, and let me say that these are the things which we look for when we interview a candidate. And most of the time, I found them either short of coming to our expectation or not prepared for the grind. So can you move to slide number 9, Kshitija, please? So that was more from, how do you need to differentiate? What are the key competencies you need to imbibe? And what are the things which you need to do to make a successful career? And it becomes more challenging, especially in the current scenario, where most of the companies are seeing a downturn in the business, and that will straight away impact the kind of hires, the kind of recruitments they have planned, the kind of headcount ads they have planned. So there will be more and more competition for fewer jobs. And if you are demonstrating the traits which I have mentioned, you stand a better chance of grabbing that opportunity. And when you get into a corporate career, or even if you decide that I want to do something of my own and I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to start a new venture, some of the key values or some of the key traits which I feel are important, and all of you need to keep that in mind. You need to be ambitious and you need to be hardworking. You can't be ambitious and you be a non-hardworking guy. It's very important that if you are ambitious, you have to be ready to slog initially when you join, and always give your best and 120% to the job. The other important thing which makes you successful in corporate life is accountable and trust. And I will tell you why I am telling you right now these 5-6 areas, how it is going to help you, and you still have time. And once you know about these traits, I think you will come out much more successful. Accountability. Accountability is, if anything is given to you, any responsibility is assigned to you, you ensure that you complete it. That's what accountable means. And if you are accountable, if you are delivering what is promised, trust is a byproduct of that. And that automatically develops trust, be it in the organization and individual, between two individuals. You have to be risk-taking and decisive. It's very important trait that you have to take risk. You have to take risk in life to be successful. Not all territories would be known to you. There are a lot of uncharted territories which you will get into and which you need to get into. And you need to demonstrate that risk-taking ability and be decisive on things. You also have to be flexible and adaptable. When I say flexible, initially in the formative years, you will have to learn and ready to learn anything. So if you join a function, say supply chain management or marketing, and if there is something which is not straight away coming out of your job description, however, there is a learning opportunity in that, and you should be forthcoming in grabbing that and learning, because every situation teaches you. You have to be adaptable to different situations. Things will always not be as per your wish, and you need to be adaptable. And ethical. I think this goes as no negotiation on ethics. I believe that there is no right way of doing a wrong thing, and you have to be ethical in your approach. Be genuine. Now, if you are able to develop these traits, during your campus days, there are more chances that you will demonstrate them when you get into a corporate life. And these are the pillars on which your career will be built over years. Next slide, please. Slide number 10. So I draw a lot of inspiration from Dr. Wayne Dyer. and he is one of the gurus of self-help. If you get time, pick up some of his books, especially Your Erroneous Zone, or Seeing It to Believe It, or Master Your Destiny. He has said that you cannot always control what goes on outside, but you can always control what goes on inside. And I think in these times, this is so apt and true, because the external situation is not in our control, but the situation, what we can control, we need to focus on that. You may not be able to attend college, you may not be able to socialize with people, but at the same time, you have lot of time to introspect. You are at home, you have a lot of time to study. How effectively you use that time, because that is something which is in their control. So with that, I thought that I will make a small presentation which sets the tone for our discussion. And all the best to all of you. I am sure all of you are bright. I would have loved to meet you in person, and I am sure before you guys leave the campus, there will be some opportunity to come and meet you in person. I would love to do that and have one more round of interaction. But before that, let's hear some question from the students. I'm sure that will not only benefit the individual, but benefit all of you. So over to you, Kavita ma'am. And thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. I think this is one of the best sessions which I proudly organized at my department. The life skill lesson with the current challenges and how students really need to prepare themselves accordingly is one of the most crucial things they really need to know. And sir, you hit the nail. You have not only given them the life skills lesson, you have also helped them to understand how they need to prepare and how they need to prepare for a longer period of time, not only to be successful in terms of their placements, but to sustain their position also in corporates. So yes. I think wonderfully many lessons. I have noted down everything. I have also prepared whatever you have spoken to the students. But before we start taking the question answer session from students, we have Dr. Aruna Deshpande, our MMS course coordinator and the associate professor of our institute. Madam has joined us. So I request Deshpande ma'am also to say a few words of today's session.
Sure.
Yeah, hello, sir. I was listening to your talk. It was very practical and very, I would say, the students would have understood that how and what the corporate actually is expecting and how they should now start thinking, because it's going to be a different phase completely, which I think even we ourselves don't know how the whole economy catches up, how the whole placement scenario catches up in after this phase. So it is something that we'll have to wait and watch. And with this session, I suppose you have, I know that you have created a very optimistic and a very positive, perception about how to groom themselves and prepare themselves for the industry. I'm impressed when you told them about preparing their mission statement, that how do they prepare what they want in future. So it was nice, good. Your guidance was very helpful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Deshpande ma'am. Sir, I have sent you one Excel sheet where students have raised their questions, but I will just concise few questions which is there mentioned in the Excel sheet. Many students have lots of concerns that how placement is going to happen in the current scenario, but maximum question has come students to understand from domain wise. So if you just let the students aware that how basically the specialization wise market trend is all about and how they need to look forward to make themselves more employable. So I think that could be of great help for students. Sir.
Okay, I think a great question and a lot of uncertainty with this COVID striking us. Till February, we never imagined that this is going to last for so long and how it is going to shake the confidence of the entire industry. And no wonder that as students, you are worried. Not only you, but a lot of people in the corporate world are worried about their jobs too and what's going to happen, because a lot of businesses have closed down, a lot of businesses have downsized. Now, what it does typically is that, it floods the market with experienced people. You look at the flip side of this, that when companies size, when they reduce to shed the workforce, the supply suddenly goes up. And all of you know the law of economics, that it's all supply demand. The job market is all about supply demand. Suddenly, when the supply side goes up in terms of talent availability who are experienced, it is going to straight away hit the build model of talent. That is, people who join fresh from the campus and they make career in the corporate world, because then employers have a choice. Now, what can you do about it? I think I just want to go back to the last slide, that there are things which are not in our control. And this is a classic case of things which are not in our control, because outside world is not in our control. The COVID situation is not in anyone's control. Now, what is in our control? We need to focus on that. It is easier said than done, but this is also an opportunity for you. Like I said, how do you differentiate yourself from others? And what is the value proposition you bring in? Yes, people are worried, and you need to be worried too, because what's going to happen. But at the same time, if you look at it, you don't have a solution of it, isn't it? You don't know when it is going to get over. Now, one thing is that we keep worrying about it, but the other way is that we take things which are in our control and keep developing ourselves. So things which are not in our control, we need not think too much about it. Worry and guilt, these are the two emotions which we need to control, because that's where people tread in their erroneous zones. You sometimes keep worrying about past what has happened, and you become immobilized in your present. Same way, you keep worrying about your future, which is not in your control. What it does to you is that it makes you immobilize. And I'm sure all of you are adult and you have seen such situations in life where something would have happened, you keep worrying, and then what it does, it actually immobilizes you in your present. And that's the worst thing to happen. You all need to be conscious about this, that you should not get immobilized. And I'm stressing this word again and again, because most of the time, the things for which you worry, they don't happen. You look at your life, and it goes with personal, professional, anything, and including, your teachers who are here, they all have gone through that situation. We go through the situation, we worry about future, and 99.9% of the time, those things don't happen. But in the process, what we do, we immobilize ourselves in the present, and we spoil that time. So my request and suggestion to all of you is, stop worrying about what's going to happen 3 months down the line or 5 months down the line. Focus on how you can be different from others, how you can be so important to the industry that they can't survive without you. Make yourself so good that they will be forced to take you. And I'm not saying it for the sake of saying. I'm telling you honestly, currently we are going to launch in our company a breakthrough product. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it. It's at a different therapy level. And for that, I wanted a couple of good management interns to come in and work. Believe me, if you are good, I would have latched on to you. But unfortunately, it is such a fantastic product which we are launching. We want the best talent to come in. Now, imagine if you are that best talent, I would have hired you even in these tough times. Now, that is the present. You can use your present to completely overhaul yourself, learn different things, upgrade your skills, and create value for yourself. That is what you can do. You cannot you don't know what's going to happen. Even I don't know what's going to happen. So you look at the challenges faced by the industry, but if you keep thinking about that, you will immobilize yourself in present. So please don't do that. Continue to upgrade yourself. The things which you could not do in your campus, do it now. You know, some of the top campuses, they have a lot of project-based learning. Why don't you form groups, peer groups? Start cracking cases. Look at case studies. You know, work in groups, find out solutions, interact with each other. You have technology platform which can be used to do that. Work on the competencies which I mentioned. Read about it. You know, develop certain skills. Learn a new language, because all that brings diversity in you. That diversity of thought is what we look for. The diversity of skills is what we look for when we hire. And I am hopeful that things will subside. And that's what I can do, and that's what you can do. And ensure that, you know, this time, because once you lose this time, you're never going to get back. The time gone is gone. So you have this 4 or 5 months. I suggest that you invest in your academics, you invest in developing yourself, you invest in differentiating yourself from other, you invest in making yourself best in the industry, so that industry is compelled to hire you. And that's what you need to think about.
Absolutely, sir. Very correct. I think what answer you have given to all students, it says a lot them to understand how they need to take it positively. So as I compiled all the question together, you have also compiled all the answers together to let students, you have given them 100 more statements which they really need to understand and start preparing accordingly. So I'm very thankful, Amit sir, for being with us and you know, gracing my invitation for delivering today's guest session. Before we end the session, I request students, few students, to kindly give the feedback or about their learning of today's session in our language.
Madam, Kavita madam, I have a request. I would also love to hear from 1 or 2 students, you know, what
Yes,
they
sir.
are thinking, and if they can, you know, ask any other questions. You know, I'm fine keeping the session open for another 5-10 minutes if you are okay. You know, and I'll be happy to answer their queries.
Sir, I wanted to ask one question.
Yeah, Nikunj.
Sir, what weightage does this, you know, online courses have in your resumes or CVs?
Doing it is good, but the most important thing which I always tell, you know, whenever, you know, students or professionals come to me, is the knowledge is more important than that certification. So if you are doing a course for the sake of doing it, it's not really useful. For example, you know, I find that there is a trend of doing digital marketing, analytics, and there are tons of courses which are available. But, you know, the basic thing is, unless you are good in your Excel, unless you are able to do analysis properly, you can always get this knowledge, but are you really learning something out of it? So these things come out during the discussion. So for example, you know, if we are hiring someone for a marketing program, and we do a assessment test called CoCubes, and in that, you know, we test 3 things. One is your professional impact, which is your communication, how you come across, your demeanor. The second piece, we look at verbal reasoning and qualitative analysis. Third thing is quantitative analysis, how good you are in numbers. So if you are hiring someone for marketing role, it's very important that the person is good in quantitative analysis. And you might have done an online course, but if you are not good in your quant, and if you are not able to clear that assessment, you will not be selected. So it's not that the certificate will pave a way for you, but what I'm trying to say is that it's very important that you have the knowledge and you have the skill of doing that. So Nikunj, it's good. It's a good time. And I would say that let's not make it a very expensive proposition at the same time. Since we have time, we keep on doing paid certifications. There is a lot of content which is available free. And even if you don't get a certificate out of it, for example, you know, the other day, my daughter who studies in NUS Singapore, she was saying that Yale University has opened one course which is free. Harvard has opened one course which is free on contract. And there is no need to pay and do a certification, because these are called MOOCs, and most of you would have heard about MOOCs. These are massive online communities which are creating tests or creating courses for the community. You may not get a certificate out of it, but if you are really serious and if you really do it well, understanding the subject, that is going to help you. I always believe that whatever you read, whatever you learn never go waste, because it always resides in you and it builds your confidence. So when you give your answers, it is always woven with that confidence. So answering your question, yes, they will have some weightage, but the important thing is when you write those certificate courses there, it is more important that you should have thorough knowledge of that subject. That's more important. Have I answered you, Nikunj?
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay. Sir, students have started writing the question. So if you have some time, we will take couple of questions and 3 impressions from students. Impression in the sense their feedback. Yeah. So Kalyani has written one question over here. As we see nowadays, companies are considering management experience rather than past degree experience. So may I know that there is no use of past experience nowadays in recruitment criteria? So it is about lateral versus fresher hiring, sir.
No, Kalyani, let me tell you that past experience is never a waste. Whatever you would have done. So, for example, I am also in the selection panel of some of the reputed institutes who take MBA candidates, their intake, and I get into the final selection. And the selection sheet which I get always have a column where it talks about the past experience. So there is always a weightage, let me tell you, for past experience when you are attending any process, because whatever you would have done would have sharpened certain skill of yours, even if it is directly not relevant. For example, you may be an engineer and you would have worked in a Tata Steel plant for 4 years, and then you did your MBA and then joined a pharma company. Doesn't mean that your experience is a waste. It is always good to have people who have knowledge of corporate life, who have gone through the discipline of corporate world, and when they enter again. Having said that, it doesn't put any candidate who doesn't have any experience in at disadvantage. The only thing is those candidates will have to put that much additional effort to catch up on those marks which they will not get what an experienced candidate will get. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but it's very important. It has not lost its relevance. In fact, I feel more and more, past experience gets more weightage when we are looking at candidate, because at least, you are sure that, their onboarding and assimilation in the organization would be much faster.
So actually, I have given one interview. So the HR manager was a lady. So she asked me about my management experience rather than past experience. And according to that, she told me that you can't get a package of 5 to 6 lakhs. You just get package of 3 lakhs because your management experience was low. So that's why I asked this question to you.
So then in your question is that, someone who comes with an experience of management versus someone. So I think you have to compare apple and orange to orange. I think your question is more from the point of view that someone who comes with a management experience, that means post MBA, someone who would have worked, versus a fresher MBA who goes there. It has nothing to do with past experience of working before MBA. Now, one more thing, one more advice which I want to give all of you, and which I got very early in my career, and I am sharing a live experience. One of my mentor or boss who picked me up from campus, he used to always say that, Amit, never worry about salary and designation, because that is always a byproduct. And believe me, I'm not telling you for the sake of saying. I have seen it that myself. If you work hard, if you do well, these are always byproduct. And in my 25 years of career, I have seen that. I was very adaptable to change. I was a risk taker. I have moved across different cities. You will be surprised that in 23 years of my marriage, I have moved 19 houses, but all for good. You know, I have always moved to a better place. Now, this is one example. Now, it is something, you know, I have never shied away from taking risk. I have never bothered about money and designation, because I personally believe, and I believe in what my mentor used to say. He's a very senior person in the industry, and that has come true. So, Kalyani, if you are offered 3 lakhs, or for that matter 2.5 lakh, you should not worry too much about 6 lakh versus 3 lakh. Because if you are good, if you demonstrate the right competencies, it is matter of time you will take over that 6 lakh. Not only 6 lakhs, I can guarantee that in 12 to 15 years you can make that 60 lakhs. And there are examples, not one or two, there are hundreds and thousands of examples where people who are good, who have demonstrated life skills, who have taken risk, who are adaptable, who are mobile, who have faced challenges in the company, accepted jobs which were tough. They are earning 10 times more than what they have started. So, you know, never get into that comparison of, you know, how much they are offering. I think it's more important whether the content of the job you are liking or not. Like I mentioned in one of the points, is the job aligned to your aspiration? If the job is what you are looking at. For example, assuming a situation that you are not getting a choice of your job, then you should get into any job. Don't worry about salary. Work hard, learn, demonstrate your competence, and I am sure company will recognize, and you will sooner move to the areas which you like for, and you will get the salary what you are looking for. So remember this, never go for salary and designation. They are the byproducts, and they happen if you are able to perform and demonstrate your competence in them. If you are good, company will go out of the way to retain you and ensure that you get salary which is fair as per the market.
Okay. Due to the,
Yes, sir. Thank
we
you,
will
sir.
take one last questions. So I think Parth has written one question. Parth, can you just unmute yourself and ask the question so that we can save some time?
Yes, madam. Good afternoon, sir. This is Parth here. I just have one question that nowadays the resumes are being getting checked through artificial intelligence system in some of the major companies, and they're looking for right keywords. Though our CVs are strong, but the keywords are not mentioned accordingly, and our CVs are rejected for a management professional. So what can be done in regards to the keywords?
Great, a nice question, Parth. And you have asked me a question which is machine versus individual, isn't it? But
Right.
remember, the machine and the AI is being created by people like you only, and there is a lot of meaning. And I have myself seen the system where resumes get screened and the keywords get picked up. So, you know, go back to my presentation where I talked about the role which you are looking for, the companies which you are applying for. You have to do your research. You have to read and find out what is the role requirement, what are they looking for, and there is no one shoe fit all. Please remember that your one CV cut paste is not going to work in the current scenario. You may have requisite qualification and experience, and you will have to tailor it. If it is 50 companies which you are applying, I would say you tailor it your CV 50 times, because nothing is guaranteed. So if you know that the CVs get screened through AI, through machine, then remember another phrase which I said, you can only do things which are in your control. And things which are in your control is to research about the company, understand what job description they have flashed, what are the requirements of the role, and tailor your CV accordingly. If machine is smart, we can be smarter than that.
Right, sir.
Okay, so that's great. Here we are just coming near to end of the session. So before we end the session, I request few of the students to kindly form the impression of our today's session. So I first invite Sudarshan Deshmukh. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. And Amit sir, it was really an honor to pleasure to listen from you. It was coming from someone with very rich industry experience. And my key learnings would be that what is needed from us as a candidate, what kind of traits are needed, like ambitious, hard work, and what kind of planning and inquisitive skills. What And one of the key learnings I would like to say that you said that don't be immobilized in the worry of future and in the worry of past. What is one of the key learnings I would take back. And thank you very much for your valuable time.
Thank you, Sudarshan.
Thank you, Sudarshan. Now I invite Parth.
Yes, madam. Thank you, sir, for showing or sharing such a momentous thoughts that enlightened us to move down the corporate world some or the another day. The thoughts on inquisitiveness was very right for today's generation Z, as being getting abrasive or being more polished ourselves to regards to knowledge. And I feel that we have received the right amount of exuberance in the years to come forth. Thank you, sir, so much.
Thank you, Parth.
Okay, Vedehi. I also invite Vedehi Vihari.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good evening, sir. I hope you're doing well. In this entire session, for me, the most interesting part was when you mentioned the statement of purpose. The last time I heard those words, I was making an application to university, and I haven't heard anyone say that since. And it makes me very happy because in this entire time, one of the biggest difficulties I have personally been facing is to not get stuck in this monotony and to remember that there is a purpose at the end of all this, and this is not a permanent situation. So thank you very much for such a motivating session, and this has been really, really interesting. Thank you.
Thanks, Vedehi.
So, sir, here the few thoughts you have listened from my students team, but I'm sure that as of now there are 62 participants and everyone would like to share the same thoughts. We have also created the feedback form. I will share with you the exciting feedback which our students are giving. However, these are the 3 students who have personally expressed their interest to speak before sir. If there are some more students who would like to form their impression before sir, you please go ahead. We still have another 5 minutes. We still have another 5 minutes. In the meantime, students are just thinking of what to speak before sir. We have Smita madam also here. I request Smita ma'am to kindly unmute herself and say a few words for today's session and to sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Amit sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
I am good, sir, and it is such a, I'll say again, a great feeling, no, to connect with you, specifically during pandemic, when we are all tied down because of varied reasons, the professional, personal, and the pandemic added on to it. So, sir, great reconnecting with you, and I could, what I was getting from the responses of the students is that the students really are appreciating your session, and the experience which you bring on the table, sir. It's always a great value addition for them. So, sir, thank you once again, and stay connected with our institution because your experience and your expertise with which our students benefit, sir. It's great for us. Thank you so much, sir.
No, it would be an honor, and I don't want these sessions to end because I personally believe that it is also for me a kind of giving back, to the society in a different manner because these are the young talents for future, and I want to see them all succeed. However, I also want them to be grounded, and grounded in the sense that the glory and success doesn't come overnight. It takes time. It takes time where you have to learn the tricks of the trade, and you will have to ensure that you deliver that value to the organization because it's always a mutual relationship. It is never one-sided. You may have 10 aspirations, but whether those 10 aspirations are fitting into organization buckets or not is something which you will have to see. So I love interacting, and I given an opportunity, I always prefer that it has to be a face-to-face one because that makes it more participative. But having said that, I said that we can't immobilize ourselves by thinking that when this face-to-face will happen, so better to get going. And it was lovely interacting with the students, and also people who are taking interest in their career, who are really serious, would have got the message. I'm sure even if I'm able to touch 50% of the population which is attending, it would be good for me. And I would love to remain connected. And let me tell you that, COVID or no COVID, we will definitely target your institute for hiring at least 2 of you in my company for the role. But we'll have to also see what kind of background you come in, being a specialty pharma company. But I will definitely evaluate some of you to come and join us, and be ready. If you get selected, it is not going to be Mumbai near your house. It will be in Bangalore, and you have to be ready for that. I can tell you that, after 21 years of my life, I left house and I stayed alone, and it's a great fun. I can only tell you that. So, don't shy away from taking up those challenges and moving across boundaries. I'm sure we'll get some more time to interact later on again with all of you. But wishing you good luck to this bright batch. As I said, don't think too much about COVID. As of now, what you can do is maintain social distancing, keep washing your hands, follow healthy lifestyle, do some exercise, keep yourself fit, and remain active for the future, which is going to come 3 to 4 months from now. So you have to be there to see those challenges. Only worrying is not going to help. So do what will keep you healthy as of now, and develop yourself. Thanks a lot, madam, for giving me this opportunity. It was lovely connecting with all of you. Thanks a lot, Smita madam, after connecting with you after a long time.
Yes,
And
sir.
Kavita anyway keeps in touch and doesn't give any room to run away. So I'm sure she will also catch me for summer internship and final placements as well.
Yes, sir. We will definitely but miss you, because you till now were almost next door. Now you have changed cities, and we will be in touch with you through online mode. But yes, that feeling that you were just next door and we could have possibly reached your office in 10 minutes, that is definitely not going to be there. But we look forward.
Yeah, but Smita madam, what I feel, distances create more stronger bonds.
Yes.
And even we were close, but we would not have interacted much. But maybe being at Bangalore and Bombay, will interact more. Let's hope for the positive side of it.
Sir.
And looking forward to visiting your campus. So I'm not too bogged down by this COVID situation. In fact, last Monday, I was in Bombay for a day for official work. Of course, I was wearing all the protective equipment required. But life moves on. I think things are opening up. Let's hope for the best, guys. All the best to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Smita ma'am. Thank you so much. Now here we come to end of the session. So I just give sir, a formal vote of thanks before we just closely off today's session. What was my takeaway? There were n number of takeaways from today's session, but 2-3 takeaways which I just would like to mention before we wind up. Sir mentioned very correctly that to get a success, which we call it, success is not just a one-time affair. It is organic and it requires continuous efforts. So we need to keep on trying till we succeed. We should have internal locus of control in our life and career. Let there be COVID or any economic recession, till the time we have a control in our life, I think we should be able to live our life happily and successfully for a longer period of time. So these were the 2 major takeaways which I have noted down in my diary from today's session, Amit sir. Once again, thank you very much for accepting my invitation and being a part of today's session. I'm also very thankful to Smita ma'am and Deshpande madam for joining and being with us throughout the session. I'm also very thankful to my placement committee members and all students for being over here and keeping the learning momentum on. So with this, we are officially calling off the session. All students need to fill up the feedback form. And after that, we will again meet up for our another excited session in the coming week. Thank you, Amit sir, for your time.
Thank you, Kavita ma'am. Thank you, Aruna ma'am and Smita madam, and all of you for joining.
We'll look forward physically to welcome you at Alkesh Dinesh Modi Institute.
Yes, first opportunity next when I am in Bombay and when you guys are in college, you will see me there.
And my invitation will be there, sir. I will follow you up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Bye-bye.
So, bye, sir. We call off today's session now. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.